The Clippers are 29th on offense.
Mm-hmm.
And Kawhi has missed 3 games in a row and actually left a road trip early to come home because his knee was quote unquote tight.
And he's out tonight.
Yeah, they play tonight. Obviously, when we do this podcast, we're always in danger of being behind. They're 4-0 coming in tonight. Are they playing Washington tonight? Who are they playing? They're playing Houston tonight. So it's kind of a get well opportunity. They could probably score 135 tonight and blow up what I just said. But like their situation is that they are really deep. And one of the criticisms that I have sort of heard from people about the Clippers is, yeah, they got all of these guys, but they're just guys. What that they mean by that is they haven't shown an identity of how to play together. And that's been a criticism that's happened since Kawhi and Paul George got to the Clippers. And it was kind of a criticism because that last team before PG and Kawhi got there was that really scrappy team that, Pat Beverly and Montrezl Harrell were on, and they would just outwork everybody. And like, they fought their way into like the 7 or 8 seed, and they like took a game or 2 off the Warriors in the playoffs. And they were really fun to watch. And like, you knew what they were going to do. Their identity was scrappy, limited talent, but well coached and all that stuff. The Clippers the last few years haven't had an identity. And here we are again this year, early in the season. Kawhi is missing games. No one seems to be talking about it, but it is worrisome that, a year and a half off of his knee, he doesn't feel comfortable enough to start and is now missing more games. I mean, like, how can you, I'm sure he probably will be fine, but how can you make any assumptions with that? They can't score. Ty Lue has been complaining about them. Spears, I'm sure they're going to be fine, but like, we can't rip the Lakers and then totally ignore the Clippers, who have way more talent, are underachieving arguably as much.
No, the Kawhi thing is the reason why I didn't jump on the bus before the season. I just, all our brethren, I don't know off the top of my head if you guys did.
I don't predict.
Yeah, that's right. Predicted the Clippers to go to the finals, which, hey, like, this is early. I got to remind this is early, but I just don't trust Kawhi's body. I know he's a super talented player. He just hasn't been on the floor since he left the Raptors. And I just, now we're seeing this early after all this time off that, he's missing games. And so how do you build that chemistry with the rest of your teammates when you're constantly out? And it's such a different team when he's in and when he's out. One thing I do worry about the Clippers is this, like, there's so many guys that want to play. And it has to be really, really difficult for Ty Lue to figure out a rotation. So, look at their guards and their small forwards, right? You got Paul George, John Wall, Powell, Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, Coffey, Boston Jr., like, all these guys want minutes. And I was told that there was a vet who sat down with one of their young guys recently and just told him to say, like, man, hey, stay patient. Stay with us. Stay patient. I know you're frustrated that you're not playing, but stay patient. So I know there's like players looking at other teams like, man, I could probably play there. Like, I'm just, playing 10 minutes here and rotting away here. So, yeah, they have a deep roster, but
meanwhile, a bunch of their veterans are missing all kinds of games.
Yeah, yeah. So I just wonder about the chemistry there. I wonder about the patience of the young guys. Will Kawhi be back? Like, I just never bought in that this was like going to be as easy as they were projected to be, because there's so much unknown about whether Kawhi is going to be on the floor, and they just have so many guys that play the same position. And when you got young guys, they don't want to be patient. They're ready to play, man. They're ready to get their opportunity. So it's hard to keep telling young guys to wait for their turn. And that's a problem that the Clippers have.
Kirk, you have any commentary on the Los Angeles Clippers?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got a bunch. I think there's sort of this qualitative analysis that they don't have a leader. They don't have leadership. I have a lot of respect for Ty Lue as a coach, but I'm talking about on the court. I think the pairing of Kawhi and Paul George is a pairing of two guys that really have not been natural leaders throughout their impressive careers. When Kawhi went in San Antonio, obviously there was leaders all over the court. When he won in Toronto, he had Kyle Lowry and Marc Gasol there. And I don't see that similar type of presence there. I get paid to look at numbers, though. And I'll tell you, when I look at this team's numbers, this team can't score it. You already pointed it out, but it's why they can't score it that I think is a little more interesting. They turn it over more than anybody else in the league. They're averaging 21 assists and 18 turnovers per game. They own the worst assist to turnover ratio in the NBA. That's a bad sign, but it also points to the fact that they don't have enough playmaking. Reggie Jackson, John Wall haven't been effective running pick and roll actions for them. But for me, it's Paul George who's been the most disappointing. He's currently scoring fewer points than I think Gary Trent Jr. and Devin Vassell we talked about earlier. And he's also among the leaders in turnovers. The bottom line for me, Brian, is at the exact same time they needed Paul George to step it up with Kawhi missing time, he's gone the other way. Our friend Ohm had this eye-popping stat in his column that outside of a 140-point game in Sacramento in the second game of the year, Paul George has averaged 13.7 points and is shooting just 17 of 54 combined in his other 4 games. This team, like you guys have already pointed out, is desperate for Kawhi to come back, but I worked for a team like that one time. It doesn't always work out.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.